Hi, this is Wild Bill from Tater Hill with a few beach metal detecting tips. First of all, I live approximately 6 hours from the nearest beach, so you might ask, how can he give beach metal detecting tips? Well, for the past 25 years or more, I've hunted at least 2 to 4 weeks a year on the beach, so I've learned a few things. Before I get started, I'll show you a few of the items I found over the years. This is a 14 karat white and yellow gold men's channel wedding band with 5 diamonds, a little over a carat total weight. And I wear this ring all the time. I love this ring, beautiful ring. This is a Movado watch that I also wear every day that I found several years ago. This is a 22 gram 10 karat gold ring that I found. This is also a 22 karat 10 karat gold ring that I found, 22 grams. This is a 10 karat 17 gram ring I found. This is another channeled diamond ring with 5 diamonds. It's white gold, 14 karat, total carat weight of 1 1/4. This is a 14 karat, 1 carat solitaire gold ring I found. And this is a chain with a man and 2 dogs. I don't know what the dogs are supposed to signify, but it's a beautiful piece. It's an unusual piece that I found. I really love it. But that's enough of the finds. There's numerous finds that I've not shown you over the years. But I'm going to get into the beach metal detecting tips because that's why I'm on here. So first of all, if you're hunting on the beach for the first time, my first tip would be to make sure your metal detector will work in the wet sand. A lot of detectors will not work in the wet sand, and if they won't work in the wet sand, you're going to get a lot of erratic signals, and the operation just won't be there to find the targets that you need to. So make sure that detector will work in the wet sand. And as to what kind of detector to use, there's several good ones on the market, so I'll leave that to your own discretion. Whatever you decide that your favorite detector is, that's the kind you need to use, as long as it will work in the wet sand. I have my own preference, but I'm not going to get into the types of the detectors since there's so many out there that work well in the wet sand. Okay, next tip I would say would be read your manual and learn all about your detector. Know what it'll do and what it won't do. The settings on it, the recommended settings, go with those until you learn it better. You might differ from that later on, but first of all, use your recommended settings. And once you know your machine, know that it'll work in the wet sand, you're ready to hunt. And probably the most important part of beach hunting is attitude. When you go out, go with the attitude that you're going to find something. Even if you don't, it'll make your day more pleasurable if you'll go with the attitude that you're going to find something. And my next tip would be courteous. Even though you would rather be hunting than talking, take the time to talk to people who always ask, what's your best find ever, or what's your best find today, or what have you found today. You'll meet many new friends that way. And my next tip would be to enjoy the day. If you're healthy enough to get out in the fresh air and sunshine on the beach, take the time to enjoy it. Now for the tips, real tips. Rings, coins, chains, and other items can be found anywhere from the dry sand to the shallow water. Whatever your preference is to search, just be patient. Sooner or later, you'll find that item that's going to make you know that the time you've invested in this worthwhile. You're not going to get rich metal detecting on the beach, but the pleasure you receive from finding that old coin or ring or chain or token, it'll make it worthwhile. And my next tip would be sure to cover all your holes when you dig the holes. Be sure you cover them up, because I watched beach hunters over the years that didn't fill in their holes, and it only takes one jogger or one walker stepping in those holes and breaking a bone for the town officials to pass a resolution or an ordinance that will not allow metal detecting anymore on the beach. And that would be a sad day for all of us who love to hunt the beaches. So fill in all your holes. It'll only take a few seconds to do that. My next tip would be, if you're hunting the dry sand, go out early and observe where people are sitting and laying. Those are ideal spots for new drops, and you'll be surprised at what you'll find if you'll do that, how that'll help you. My next tip would be, if you're hunting the wet sand, look for cuts in the sand. That would signify where the waves have caused erosion, and also look for different color sands. That would indicate that the sand may have been flipped and some of the deeper items may have been brought to the surface. Although you might not find anything in a certain area today, and I've gridded areas and found very few targets that day, but would go back the next day to the very same area and found numerous targets, because the sand sometimes flips, so you never know when the sand's going to flip, and if it flips, it's going to bring more items to the surface. So just because you don't find anything in that area today doesn't mean there won't be something there tomorrow. And my next tip would be, slow down. Don't get in a hurry. I found numerous chains and rings and coins where I'm sure other detectorists have passed over because they were hunting too fast. So listen for that deep sound and take your time and enjoy it. And my next tip would be persistent. There are days when you're going to find very few targets. The sand will be too deep, or fewer items have been lost. Everyone that detects has those days, so sometimes several in a row that you'll go out there and you find very little. I've been to the beach and in a week's time found very little, and then I've been to the beach and found a lot of stuff in a week's time. And I watched several beach hunters on YouTube that go out and they don't find as much in a day's hunting as you would in a schoolyard. So there's going to be days like that. So just be patient and persistent. Sooner or later you'll find that item that'll make it worthwhile. So those are my beach detecting tips. So get out, enjoy the beach, the weather, the people around you, and don't forget to thank the Lord up above that you still have health to do what you enjoy. This is Wild Bill, and I hope you enjoyed these beach metal detecting tips.